Ever wondered why she might be ignoring you? That question has probably crossed your mind more than once. You're not alone. This is a common occurrence that leaves many men scratching their heads, wondering where they went wrong. The reasons behind this seemingly mysterious behavior can be as diverse as the women themselves. It could be anything from personal issues, emotional turmoil, to something as simple as needing some space. However, it's not always about you. The intricate web of human psychology plays a significant role here. Understanding the psychology behind the veil of silence can be quite enlightening. It provides a window into the thoughts, feelings, and motivations that drive such actions. This understanding can be a great tool in navigating the complex world of relationships. So, are you ready to unravel the mystery? Stay with us as we delve into the psychological theories and studies that can shed light on this perplexing behavior. The human mind, a complex web of emotions, thoughts, and reactions, holds the key to our behavior. Let's delve into the psychology behind ignoring someone. At its core, it's a form of communication, albeit a silent one. It's a way to express discontent, dissatisfaction, or discomfort without uttering a single word. But what are the psychological mechanisms that drive this behavior? Firstly, let's consider passive-aggressive behavior. This is a non-confrontational form of expressing displeasure. By ignoring someone, the individual is showing their dissatisfaction, yet avoiding direct confrontation. It's a silent protest, a way to express unhappiness without the need for words. But beneath this silence, there's often a whirlpool of emotions: anger, resentment, or disappointment. Next, we have the need for attention. Paradoxically, ignoring someone can also be a cry for attention. It might seem contradictory, but by withholding attention, the individual is actually trying to draw attention to themselves. It's as if they're saying, "Notice me, see that I'm upset, react to my silence." It's a power play, a way to gain control and provoke a reaction. Finally, let's talk about emotional unavailability. Sometimes ignoring is a defense mechanism, a protective barrier against emotional vulnerability. If someone is emotionally unavailable, they might ignore others as a way to maintain emotional distance. It's not about the other person, but about their own inability or unwillingness to engage emotionally. So you see, ignoring someone isn't just about not responding to a text or turning a cold shoulder. It's a psychological tactic, a silent message that conveys a range of emotions and intentions. It's a form of communication that's as complex and multifaceted as the human mind itself. Ignoring someone isn't always as simple as it seems. It's a psychological reaction with deep-seated roots. Numerous theories and studies provide insights into why a woman might ignore a man. Let's delve into the realm of psychological theories. First up, we have the attachment theory. This theory suggests that early experiences in childhood can significantly influence development of our attachment style. If a woman had a troubled relationship with her caregiver, she might develop an avoidant attachment style. This means she may shy away from close relationships, including ignoring advances from men to protect herself from potential emotional distress. Next, we have the social learning theory. This theory postulates that we learn behaviors, including how we interact with others, through observation, imitation, and modeling. So, if a woman has observed and internalized the behavior of ignoring men as a coping strategy, she might replicate the same in her interactions. Then there's evolutionary psychology. This theory posits that our behaviors today are influenced by our ancestors' survival needs. A woman might ignore a man if she subconsciously determines that he wouldn't be a suitable mate based on her inherited instincts. These theories aren't just abstract concepts. They're backed by a multitude of studies. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals with avoidant attachment styles were more likely to avoid close relationships, supporting the attachment theory. Another study in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology provided evidence for the social learning theory, showing that people often mimic the behaviors they've observed in their social environment. Studies in the field of evolutionary psychology, such as those published in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior, have found that women's mate preferences change across their menstrual cycle, suggesting that evolutionary instincts might play a role in their behavior. So you see, the reasons behind a woman's decision to ignore a man can be complex and deeply rooted in psychology. It's not always a straightforward case of disinterest or disdain. These theories and studies help us understand the bigger picture of human behavior. Scene script. Let's bring these theories down to real-life situations. Imagine you're at a social gathering. You spot a friend you haven't seen in a while. With a smile, you approach, ready to catch up. but instead of reciprocating your enthusiasm, she barely acknowledges you, her eyes glued to her phone. This is an example of passive ignorance, a situation where someone might feel overwhelmed or uncomfortable and chooses to ignore as a coping mechanism. On the other hand, consider a scenario where you've had a disagreement with a friend. You've tried reaching out, but she won't respond to your calls or messages. This is active ignorance and can be a method of expressing displeasure or disagreement without verbal confrontation. In a professional setting, your colleague might be ignoring you because she feels threatened by your competence or afraid of competition. This is strategic ignorance, where a person consciously decides to ignore to gain an upper hand. Now, let's say you've been consistently trying to engage in conversation with a woman you're interested in, but she's been ignoring your advances. This is a form of protective ignorance, where she might be trying to establish boundaries or protect herself from unwanted attention. Understanding these theories helps in dealing with these situations. If a friend is practicing passive ignorance, giving her space might be the best course of action. In the case of active ignorance, it could be worth trying to address the disagreement openly and honestly. If you're being strategically ignored at work, demonstrating your competence without confrontation could help. And if you're facing protective ignorance, respecting her boundaries and giving her the room to engage when she's ready is the most respectful approach. These examples are just the tip of the iceberg. People's motivations for ignoring others can be complex and layered, often rooted in personal experiences, emotional states, and social dynamics. Remember, every situation is unique, and understanding the psychology behind it can help navigate it better. Now that we understand the why, let's discuss the how to deal with being ignored. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. It hurts, it's frustrating, confusing, and sometimes it can make you feel utterly invisible. But remember, it's not about you, it's about them. Their inability to communicate effectively is not a reflection of your worth. So how can you navigate through this fog of ignorance? The first step is communication. Open, honest, and direct communication can often clear up misunderstandings. Reach out to the person ignoring you. Ask them if something is bothering them. Be tactful yet assertive. Remember, the goal is to understand, not to accuse or fight. However, there are times when open communication doesn't work. Maybe the person is not ready to talk, or perhaps they are dealing with personal issues. In such cases, patience is your best friend. It can be frustrating, but it's crucial to respect their space and wait for them to open up. Understanding is another key element in dealing with ignorance. Try to empathize with the person. Maybe they're going through a tough time. Maybe they're struggling with something you're not aware of. Understanding their perspective can give you insight into why they're behaving the way they are. But what if the ignorance continues? Well, it's essential to protect your mental health. If someone continually ignores you, it might be time to reconsider the relationship. It's okay to distance yourself from people who consistently make you feel invisible. You deserve respect, and it's okay to demand it. Lastly, remember that you can't control others' actions, but you can control how you respond. Ignorance can be tough to deal with, but it also provides an opportunity for growth. It's a chance to develop patience, understanding, and communication skills. Dealing with ignorance can be a test of patience, but with understanding and the right approach, it can be navigated. To sum it up, we've embarked on a fascinating exploration of the complex world of human behavior, specifically why sometimes she might choose to ignore you. We've peeled back the veil of silence, delving into the psychology of ignorance. It's not always personal, sometimes it's a defense mechanism or a way of asserting control. We've discussed theories and studies that shed light on this behavior, giving us a better understanding of why it happens. We've also examined real-life examples, showing us that it's a common occurrence that many people experience. We've then stepped into the realm of dealing with ignorance. It's a tough situation to be in, but remember, patience and understanding are your best tools. It's important to communicate, to ask questions, and to try to understand the other person's perspective. Understanding the reasons behind being ignored can help us deal with it more effectively. Remember, patience and understanding are key. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey.